also had a new strategy. He would co-opt his opponent's best ideas. Guided by his savvy pollster Dick Morris, he worked with Republicans in 1996 to reform welfare programs requiring beneficiaries to find work. He deregulated the telecommunications and financial industries, opening up the economy. He signed the Communications Decency Act, which allowed free speech to flourish in the world's newest medium, the internet. In short, he returned to his centrist
deregulating the financial industry. That's not like a good thing. He's saying that Clinton stole that from Republicans, thinking that it's like this clever point to bring up, when in reality, deregulating the financial industry, that was one of the worst things that Clinton did. It led to the 2008 crash. He repealed the Glass-Steagall Act, which had separated commercial banks. It had made it so that investment banks and commercial banks could basically work together. It allowed too big to fail mega banks like Citigroup to form. He deregulated the credit default swaps. These were the instruments that fueled the 2008 subprime mortgage meltdown. And so now banks could use everyday Americans' deposits to make risky bets on mortgage-backed securities. Okay, so lenders had lower standards. They were giving out loans. They called them ninja loans. No income, no jobs, no assets. So they were just giving loans to people that had no business receiving these loans. Okay, and this is one of the things that created a housing bubble. So you had a housing bubble created on bad debt. That was because of Clinton deregulating the financial industry. And so it's meant to be like this partisan dig at Clinton, but a lot of people on the left are not huge Clinton fans for a reason. So him bringing up that point, it's not it's kind of a self-own if he's saying he got this great idea from the Republicans. It went awful.
Pragmatic roots. Before long, it was the Republicans grasping for relevance. Clinton's policies facilitated one of the longest peacetime economic expansions in American history, generated federal surpluses, and reduced the national debt. They also helped him sail easily to re-election in 1996, becoming the first Democratic president since Franklin Roosevelt to win a second term. But just when it seemed like he'd finally mastered the office, it all came crashing down, and he would have no one to blame but himself. In January 1998, an obscure internet site called the Drudge Report revealed that Clinton had had an Oval Office affair with a 22-year-old intern, Monica Lewinsky.
But second off, the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal, it's wild that Republicans just railed against him so hard over this. Yes, it was immoral. Yes, it was a mistake. But some of these same people like Rush Limbaugh, his brother David Limbaugh, a lot of the people on Fox News, I think Sean Hannity, he might have been reporting at that time. If not, it was shortly after in the early 2000s. But some of these same people, they just railed against Clinton and talked about how immoral he was for this. I have a book by Rush Limbaugh's brother, David Limbaugh, where he outlines that Democrats are so morally bankrupt. These people today are silent on Donald J. Trump. Trump paid Stormy Daniels. He's all over the Epstein files. Are these people running around saying how Trump is so immoral? Of course not, because they're partisan hacks. The idea that they were trying to push to impeach Bill Clinton over this, but then they were not pushing for Trump to get impeached over January 6th and inciting a mob by saying you have to be strong and take our country back. That's honestly a joke.
First, Clinton denied the rumors, then made matters worse by trying to lie his way out of the scandal. When called to testify under oath, he insisted that he had never had a sexual relationship with that woman. Nobody believed him. In December 1998, the House of Representatives impeached William Jefferson Clinton on a charge of perjury. It was the first presidential impeachment in 130 years. Although the Senate Democrats ensured Clinton's acquittal in February of 1999, the Lewinsky affair preoccupied the nation for over a year. Worse, it distracted Clinton from focusing on a very real threat, the Islamic terrorist group Al-Qaeda. In August 1998, the group attacked U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing over 200 people. And then in October 2000, Al-Qaeda detonated a bomb next to USS Cole, a destroyer refueling at a port in Yemen, killing 17 American sailors. And worst of all, he balked at his chance to take out the then unknown leader of this newest threat to America, a young Saudi radical by the name of Osama bin Laden. And therein lies the real disappointment of the Clinton years. Although much was accomplished, so much more could have been done. Sadly, all most people remember about President Clinton is that he had a tawdry affair with a White House intern. I'm
No,
Bill
honestly,
Whittle for
that's true
Prager
that is
University.
something that a lot of people remember about Clinton. But honestly, Biden was a more pro-labor president than Clinton, and Clinton's not viewed as like this great hero by most left-leaning people. But again, it's a self-own when he's saying that like deregulating the financial industry was something that Clinton stole from Republicans, when that was honestly a horrible thing that Clinton did and it went bad. And then for them to talk about the Monica Lewinsky scandal, when again, a lot of those same people, you can go back and look at what Fox News was saying in 1998, 1999 about that situation. And then you see the way that they covered for Trump. And it just shows that they're not a serious news organization. They're not trying to inform people. They're trying to shift. They're trying to basically portray a narrative and shift people's thinking. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe.